Awesome. Yeah, I actually took a bunch of notes on, you know, what really stuck out to me from leadership, but I don't want to just run through them all or whatever. But I think one of the things that was really highlighted very well in the book, probably the top takeaway for me, because people talk about leadership all the time. I know people are real into Jocko Willink and others,
Hmm.
other guys who focus on extreme ownership and all these concepts, which to me is kind of just that's been beaten into me heavily. um, but the thing that really isn't talked about a lot is interpersonal tact and emotional intelligence. And you guys talked about how happy the crew stayed. Well, there's actually, if I remember, 2 or 3 crew members who were essentially either willing to just call it quits and give up, or they were just extremely toxic, right? Always negative. And so what stuck out to me about Shackleton the most is realizing that um, a negative person, misery loves company, right? And
Mm.
that mentality can just spread like a cancer. And what he did was very, very smart, tactically, to ensure that those who were still kind of in a good rhythm, and although they were struggling, they hadn't despaired yet. And so with some of these different people who were problematic, he shifted his method of engaging with them. Some guys he had to yell at or whatever, but not yell, but like be very direct and kind of be on them. Other guys needed kind of you have to tell them how great they are and kind of play to their ego and things like that. So um, those to me really stuck out as probably one of the most underrated facets of leadership. Because wherever you go, especially if you're leading a team, a large team, you're going to have a wide range of personalities and people from
Mhm.
different backgrounds, and so you have to be able to be uh, perceptive to those different individuals, what makes them tick, what makes them excited, or what are their struggles, those kinds of things. And then if some people are just truly very difficult and there's not really a whole lot you can do to change that, so you have to kind of insulate them away from the group and essentially mitigate against them. Other people you can kind of draw out better qualities from, and they just need a little teaching or coaxing. But I think the book really highlighted very well how Shackleton quickly identified those individuals who he either needed kind of the coaxing or insulation, um, and just masterfully did that. And so essentially one of them was super difficult, super toxic. He basically put him in his own tent. So he said, "I'm the leader. I'll endure this toxic person and listen to his griping, but I won't let it poison my men."
Mm.
And to me, that was just one of the most immense decisions that he made that ultimately led to their survival. Because if you let that fester, um, it just spreads, and I've seen it in the military, right, where one negative person converts a whole platoon to just being
Mhm.
down and the end of the world and everything, right? So I think the reason they collectively kept a good mentality is because of his emotional intelligence about his crew and understanding how to adapt that. And I think that highlights a great example for as a parent, right? Especially if you have multiple kids, all your kids are different, your spouse is different, your friends are different. You've got to work and adapt yourself to kind of meet the situation. So that stuck out to me. I'll pause. I know I'm rambling. John Michael, I'd actually love to kind of segue from that into some other parallels you had between Shackleton's leadership and maybe what we can draw into fatherhood. Um,
Well, you guys are going to help me because it's
yeah,
been a long time since I've read it. So as y'all keep talking, I'm going, that's right, that's right, that's right. But what you forgot to mention is Shackleton, I think, had all the guys take a love language quiz before they went on their journey, and he had them all take the Enneagram. So he knew that's how he had such insight into everybody's situation. No, you're right, though. That's the thing that impressed me the most as well, is the fact that this guy's paying attention. He's watching, he's learning people, and he's focused on accomplishing the mission, which became the survival of his men. Like the original mission, it became obvious early on that, all right, that ain't happening. But after a while, it was really obvious, okay, we've got to survive. And I think, there's some advantage to a leader in a moment like that, even though the pressure is immense, it is going to bring a perfect clarity. You
Mhm.
know, um, it's not an excuse, but it's certainly easy for us. We've got plenty of distractions because we have plenty of comfort. When you remove those things, it makes you have a healthy tunnel vision for what
yeah,
matters most. So I think we see that, but the way Shackleton rolls with it, forsakes his own ego, forsakes his own comfort, really because he loves his men. It's an incredible thing. When I talk to clients about this stuff, when we're navigating, I'll have multiple guys and we're coaching through different scenarios. I say, hey, for you, and we work through something. I said, now, Zach, I would never tell you that because here's why that's different. And here's what I'm considering. And here's the context. Jeff, though, this is absolutely how you should proceed and move forward. So it's important to understand what you've got, understand your moment, understand your season, understand your mission. And that's true for fathers. Everybody's in a different season. You need to know the season of your household. You need to understand the times that you live in the world, but you need to understand the season of your household. Well, your bros might be in a different season. Maybe they've got older kids. Maybe this current season is going to be daddy's got to finish this school. Maybe this current season is, man, it's a season of sweetness and margin. Maybe this season, it doesn't matter what it is. The fact is, you're the captain of the ship. It's your responsibility to identify it. And then once you can identify it, you can determine what the mission is. Now, what you've determined what the mission is, now we can be deliberate so we don't drift through this thing. Sometimes the ice flows get a hold of you. That sucks. But otherwise, we want to be picking a destination, but we got to do that with knowledge, not just with, a dartboard.
Oh, I'm so guilty of that. I have a 2-year-old right now, so I don't have a lot of free time. And I look at my friends with older kids and I go, oh, they've got all this free time. It must be something wrong with the way I'm parenting or my relationship isn't fair. That makes so much sense. That really resonates with me. My season right now is that my time is about my young child because, he's going to take up more time than an older child. And so reminding myself that is really going to be key, and saying that's okay that I don't have the free time to, goof off like I used to in my 20s. That was a different season. So, wow, that's really powerful. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. And the cool thing, Dustin, is once you start to think on that more, as you meditate on that in the coming days and take it to the Lord in prayer, maybe write about it a little bit, discuss it with your wife, it's going to give you even a joy in it rather than, we'll get through this season. I don't mean that. I don't mean like, oh, when they're out of diapers or, oh, when this. I mean like,
Sure.
oh, like this can be dope. And this should be dope. No matter what season we're in, we're going to make it dope. And you're going to start to get excited about the ways you can maximize this moment rather than feeling jealous or bummed that we're here. It's going, own it. This is where we are, and that's not a bad thing. The Lord's got us here. Now, how can we crush? How can we dominate? How can we make sure when the season is finished, we said, praise God, we did that faithfully. Not perfectly, but faithfully.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Love
that's
that.
good.